Hi, this is Dr. Dave, and we're going to do the second tech assignment for this project. And in this case, we're going to be creating our rational models from the functions you did in the previous tech assignment, and we're going to go ahead and graph them. Now, this is very much like what you did in Tech 3, so what we're going to do is we're going to utilize that particular worksheet. So go back into your Project 1 shared sheet and go to the Tech 3 that you created, and then go ahead and grab onto that triangle, and we're going to say copy to. Now we need to go find our Project 2 shared sheet, and mine is in this particular folder. And there it is, P2. Yours is probably called P2 underscore team something. We're going to select that. And then when we get this prompt here, we're going to go ahead and open the target worksheet. Now, when I look at this, there's a whole bunch of tabs here, but what I'm guessing is that if I scroll far enough to the side here, I'm going to go ahead and see the one that I just copied in here. Now, what I'm going to show you how to do here is how to graph the linear divided by linear. The process for doing linear divided by quadratic, or quadratic divided by linear, or quadratic divided by quadratic is exactly the same, but with different formulas. Your team is going to have to portion out the work so that you cover each of those 4 different types of models. So let me go ahead and look at that particular sheet that I just copied here. And since I'm going to be doing linear over linear, I'm going to double click and I'm going to type linear slash linear and then put my name. That way you'll be able to locate the linear over linear model for price to earnings, and you'll know who did it. So the only thing that remains is to go up here into C2 and type the formula in and then fill the rest of the column. So I need to know exactly what my models are. So since I'm doing linear over linear, let me scroll here over to right there. There's the linear model for P. If you were doing a quadratic model for P, you'd go to the appropriate tab here. But on the linear model for P, I see the formula is 1.564 times x plus 46.757. So I'm going to write that down. And then I'm going to go to the linear model for E, and I'm going to find the formula for that and write it down. 1.064x plus 3.042. So that's the price model and the earnings model for linear over linear. So now I'm going to go back to my linear over linear sheet that I'm doing, and I'm going to go ahead and type that in up here. So this was left over from the last one, so I'm just going to delete it out. And I'm going to type parentheses 1.564 star for times, and now I'm going to multiply that times A2 and then add 46.757, and I'm checking that twice because this is where most of the mistakes are, is just typing in the formulas. Close off the parentheses, divided by, now another set of parentheses for the numerator, 1.064 times A2 plus 3.042, and end the parentheses. So looking at that, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to type enter, and it's gone ahead and calculated that value for me. So now I'm going to go ahead and put that into the rest of this column. So I'm going to click back on C2, grab the fill bar, and just start dragging it till I get to the very bottom of that column. And now I'm going to go back up and see what it looks like. So you can see it dropping down just like it did before. And if I look at it carefully, you'll notice that it doesn't pass through any of the points. That's what makes this a little bit different from Project 1. In Project 1, it had to go through a pair of the points. In this one, it doesn't. And so now I can look at the different errors here. And as a team, once everyone has completed their different models, the linear over linear, linear over quadratic, quadratic over linear, and quadratic over quadratic, you can compare these errors to decide which one is the very, very best. Once you've decided which one is the very, very best, then it's time to take the formula, like what we have up here, and decide what is the rate at which that formula is changing at 2. And then use that to project what's going to happen into the future. So we're done with this. So once you've gotten to this point, make sure you put in the log what you've done, that you're doing linear over linear. In fact, it's probably a good idea to establish this early on with your team so you don't have any duplication of effort.